Right, this finishing is important. It's one thing we won't necessarily get into with tackling 101 because we're going to avoid the collision side. But one thing we can do is with our off-season drills or even our strength conditioning, teach the components of what finishing is. And probably the biggest thing is having the feet when they'll go aggro. The feet have to stay alive. Pre and post, there's no difference. We want the feet going nuts before tackle and after tackle. Now, I've always heard it, and I'm not just being argumentative here with the first feet after contact wins, but I want to bring to light some things that happen when we try to use a different type of foot action when it comes to finishing here. We talk about accelerating and quickening. Accelerating is what we get when we run. Feet are off the ground. We're increasing our stride length. The power that we get when we accelerate is there. Very important. When we talk about tackling, we've typically talked about this stepping on the opponent's toes. Have you guys heard that too? Right? It's a common, once we want to accelerate into that guy. What happens is if we don't impede that ball carrier's progress, spin moves happen. Good players tend to nudge tacklers off. They turn their pads, they get skinned. And now someone trying to step on a ball carrier's feet gets thrown off, and then what's the cue? Wrap up! And it's not really about wrapping. It's about what the feet can do to help you out, okay? There's a time when the feet have to accelerate, and then there's a time where we just got to get them quick, keep our base wide, and stay in front of that guy either to get help or to impede his progress. So this is going to come with feel. It's the same thing with teaching someone how to hit a changeup, all right? We can practice hitting changeups out of the cage, but until you see a fastball come at 90, and then you have to react to a changeup in real life, you really don't know what quickening and accelerating means. But what we can do is train the components of it. So when August comes and we do put the armor on, it has a tendency to happen a little bit better. A lot better for the skilled players, and hopefully just a little bit better for those guys that are just making a play or two for them. I've seen a lot of good coaching come through to assist the athletes to keep their eyes up, and oh, let's look back or I'll give you a number. Threw me as he just made the hit. The transferability isn't there because what happens is those numbers aren't there on game day. The coach isn't standing there. And the more effective way in order to create that tight seal, increase not only the effectiveness of the physical art of tackling, but again, we're talking about this. I want to put you down. I'm going to stand over your body. Like there's a point here where we want to facilitate some sort of idea of dominance over someone we're playing. So the eyes got to stay on that body. They stay there, you'll be amazed at how quick guys' feet get moving or how aggressive they get moving. But we want the eyes on the body. That's where it is. Sure, we want to hit through dudes, but we want to make sure that our eyes stay on that body. And whether you got a perfect wrap tackle, you've got that guy elevated, he's up in the air, let's not look up or down. Let's keep your eyes on him, and much like a wrestler, you're going to take him down and then put him on the ground that way. But again, I think this is stuff we'll cover with 202. We can just start enhancing the idea and teaching that mindset now so it takes flight when we are tackling people to the ground. Again, wrapping takes care of itself. Ball carriers up, back, and down. And this is a neat thing that we started seeing, especially with the rugby guys, is they couldn't afford to lunge out with a tackle. And I think we draw a lot of water as a football player, especially with big hits where guys leave their feet and launch. All right, against good players, I use an Adrian Peterson, but even a good high school player, he can take as much of another guy his age coming at him if he sees him, and he can stick him for a second and then keep his feet moving. The striking on a hit is actually up, okay? And this comes too, if your feet are in position and you're able to hit up, things happen to your opponent's backbone, his head, and his attitude. That's exactly what we want as a defense and as a tackler. So without necessarily going into that too much right now, we're getting our feet in position so that as the attitude, the confidence comes, athletes start hitting up, even in the open field, they start snapping necks and creating that drive. And even if it is worst case scenario where the guy that just has to hug onto his legs, he's still in a better position. His feet are closed so he can get his body there, knowing that the other black shirts, his other teammates, are going to be there as well. That'll finish this play.
Chris,
Yes.
how would you describe the best feet after contact? What
I
are
think-
you looking for?
You know what? I think it's dictated by kind of what happens. If you create a tremendous impact, and we've seen kind of plays like this where the ball carrier is completely shocked. He might even seen the dude coming, but it's a Ray Lewis, Dick Butkus kind of hit, and now that guy's forward progress is stopped. The ability now to step on his toes and accelerate, that option is open. That would be the best feat. But imagine this, and this is probably more likely. The impact happens, boom. Both athletes kind of get knocked off each other a little bit. And this is typically where then a guy, well, I got to wrap up, he'll dive and reach his feet, stop moving. He's not really able to drive that dude back, right? He might have been heated, but now the best feet obviously got to get moving. We'd almost want our guy like a mirror drill in front of him. Southern Cal teaches that a lot. And I'm not saying they're great tacklers, but they've kept it very simple for their guys where they don't even teach accelerating. They figure that'll just happen. They just tell their guys, get there and just mirror him because we'll pursue the ball when we get there. So to answer your question, the best feet are dictated kind of what happens after that impact. And I think the best way to train that, teach kids what it feels like to accelerate, what it feels like to quicken. And then through experience and the drills that really have, we're tackling to the ground today, guys. Those tendencies will start rearing themselves. And if they do miss, the cue doesn't just become wrap up. It's because, hey, I need your feet quick. I think the acceleration, much like the SC coaches say, take over, but it might just be getting guys comfortable after they, hit a sled, getting their feet to go crazy. You know, it takes a lot of physical conditioning to do that because it's work. We know what that's like. If we just buzzed our feet for 20 seconds here, you know, we'd get our heart rates up and we'd get some lead in our legs. Getting kids doing this all off season, and typically more sports have that involved where the feet get quick, I think it's a good thing for them to learn that attribute. So I hope that kind of shed some light on it. I wish it was a slot A, tab B kind of thing, but it pretty much would be dictated on kind of what happens, but we're in a safe place if we just say, guys, aggro feet after you hit someone. I think everything's right here except the finish. And you gotta love the effort this big old fullback from New York brings it now. He doesn't have much shift to him. He picks it and goes. He even did a good job getting his head across, right? Kind of like what we tell guys, get that head across. And notice I haven't really said that too much, just because we've seen as many tackles happen with the head not getting across as they do with. But the one thing we know for sure is the feet are aggressive and they're very close. There's just no feet after contact here. He does a great job coming in position, they just die. You're gonna get kicked like a mule. Here's a great example of frenzy, like you were asking. This is a guy that just felt it. There was a point he had to quicken his feet, and then he got to accelerate as he got his pads square. See how they got quick? It allowed him to get his pads underneath, exude some leverage. Now it's a drill, I know. And this is a very simple drill to set up, teaching to get the head across, and really just teaching this component with the feet, quickening them, and then accelerating once you have that point. His bow is broken, his forward impetus stops. Now we can take him back and step on his toes. But it comes with feel. This is a great drill to enhance that feel. Quick, now drop, go. Step on his toes. Here's it in real life. Look at these two guys connected by a string. Quick, and now we drive it back. And now it's goal line, right? Oh, I gotta make a big hit, I gotta make huge impact. They got pressure on them, right? It's a big time game. They trusted each other, trusted their feet. Pads are in a good position. Yeah, we got it. Done. Results. Made a point of this really quick. Yards of contact. I don't think that's as accurate enough anymore. It's very tough to equate this. It's probably the biggest misnomer stat in the NFL. And we're keeping it behind schedule. It's probably the only way to know if we're tackling effectively. And then other things affect as well. We get more second and eights, thirds and sixes plus. That's probably the best way to know how well we're tackling. Because if it's just about getting there and we're missing tackles because we're not finishing them, that only tells part of the story.